everyone, and welcome to the APAT Show. It's Sunday night, 9:30 p.m. Lee, and we have a special guest tonight, a very special guest.
Yeah, sorry, I'm a little bit confused. You set something different up on Facebook tonight, and I'm all over the place as to where any of this video is going. But hopefully,
we're okay.
Hopefully, it is good. Yeah,
I think we're okay.
Yes, we'll be good. Yes, we have got a special guest. No online poker for this week, but we brought the next best thing. It's our online champion from the last 9 weeks. It is Dan Williams. He of PokerNews fame, and more importantly now, the winner of the APAT Winter Leaderboard for 2025. Evening, Dan.
Evening. How are we all?
We're good, good. Thank you, Dan. What's it like being back on the cold shores of Grand Britannia? You were in Malta last week, I believe. You played the final leg of the Winter Leaderboard from Malta.
Yes, much to the wife's dismay, but we well, we did. Yeah, it's great to be back. The weather's glorious. The wind is high. Yeah, it's okay. Malta was very nice, very, very sunny for February. So I would advise anybody that wants to go for a nice February bit of sun, Malta's not a bad place.
It is a superb spot. Having spent a bit of time there myself, I can definitely vouch for that. And Lee, am I right? There's going to be an APAT Malta. There's probably going to be some Poker Ravels Malta stuff coming up, I'd have thought. Grand spots to play poker in.
There's going to be an APAT Malta. There's been an APAT Malta for many years now, but yeah, there's going to be two stops in Malta this year alongside the spring and the autumn edition of the Malta Poker Festival, with everything that Yvonne and the team do out there. So yeah, we'll have those events on, and this week we'll have our first Malta package up for grabs on Poker Raffles. So that'll be going on the site this week. Obviously, we've got an Irish Open package to draw tomorrow night, which is looking like it's going to be good value. I mean, we're not here, we're not here in a salesy thing, but I think that one might be some good value for tomorrow night if you want to get in on that, if you fancy doing that one. But we'll see how that goes. But yeah, Malta's always cool. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to come around super quick. But I don't know what you feel, Dan, but there's so much poker on the go in the next 2 or 3 months. It's absolutely unreal. You build up into the Irish Open over Easter time, and then you've got the Party Poker Live tour is kicking off. They've got that going on. The Battle of Malta is before Easter, then the Malta Poker Festival is afterwards. Then there's another one that's about to get launched, which I nearly talked about, and then thought, no, they haven't announced yet, so I don't think I can confirm that. I'll check the website where they have. They might have actually announced dates on that, but that's happening in May as well. So it's just endless, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I mean, I know that Yvonne, who works tirelessly on the Malta Poker Festival, is also heading up Sigma's poker tour that attaches to the industry conferences. So that's also in Brazil at the beginning of April. And you talk about Malta Poker Festival. I can't tell you too much, but there might be another exciting partner hosting an event there. So keep a lookout for the schedule when it comes out. I don't know who that might be. I don't know who might have organized it. Take a wild guess.
But we could make some wild guesses there, Lee. Could we not?
They'll sit there as the second best side event at a Malta Poker Festival, because we all know that the APAT structure is can't be beaten at that event. They're queuing out the door to get into that APAT event. Tom's literally he's got the old barriers out, zedding up and down the corridors to fit them all in, just to try and play that event.
It's true. The last time I went, it resembled the the opening sequences of the X Factor, where you just see all the contestants lined up, hoarded around. So yeah, I remember it well.
Sorry, hoarding around. What are you trying to say?
Well, I mean, I'm just talking to our demographic, aren't I?
Tom is very much our Louis Walsh. Very much that is the
Has
case.
that looked down?
And for anyone that's seen the Boyzone documentary, I was curious, so I watched it the other week. Wow, he doesn't come out of that very well.
Haven't seen it, Lee. Have you seen that one, Dan?
Goodness me!
I've not seen it, but I am thinking, if he's Louis Walsh, does that make Des Sharon Osbourne?
Oh, don't be like that. There's no need. There's no need.
Quite possibly.
Need.
Yeah, but genuinely, Louis Walsh does not come out of that documentary very well at all, for the way he he ran the band and treated the guys, and even watching back afterwards and hearing stuff afterwards when they're interviewing him, he doesn't seem to give a shit. That seems to be his attitude. I never kind of thought he was that guy, but it would appear, yeah, very much is the case. But anyway, of course, on top of all of that schedule, a couple of big announcements this week. On Monday, APAT announced our World Championship of Amateur Poker dates. So that is all confirmed. So you can start booking hotels, transport, bar tabs, whatever it is you need to do. Wednesday, the 20th of August to Monday, the 25th of August at Dusk Till Dawn in Nottingham. And would you go and believe it, just when we've got all the eyeballs of the poker world on us, the World Series of Poker just sneak in on our coattails there and decide to announce their schedule for 2025. I think dates were already pretty much nailed in as when it was going to be, but 100 events confirmed on Monday. We'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later on. Didn't see it's the first one with GG kind of in command of everything, and I didn't see a huge amount change wise, Dan. Initially, when I had a look, anything that kind of flagged up to you?
No, not really. I mean, obviously for me, the most important news is that the PokerNews Deep Stack Championship is coming back for its second iteration, which is super exciting. So
it was a great success last year, Dan.
Massive success.
Yeah.
I mean, for those that don't know, PokerNews basically take over the daily deep stacks for 5 weeks prior to the bracelet event. And there's leaderboards. So even if you can't afford to play, some of the bigger events, you can play these $200 to $400 dailies. There's a weekly leaderboard, and the top 10 of each leaderboard would get $600 seats into our bracelet event later on at the series. So it's quite a nice way to kind of celebrate the kind of recreational player. And it's an interesting one because I don't know if you guys remember, but it was only a couple of years ago that they were unable to play the daily deep stacks regularly because of table kind of demand. The actual bracelet events themselves were taking up so much resource during the series that they were cancelling daily deep stacks on the regular, which is really disappointing because there's a huge economy of poker player that go out to feel like they're part of the WSOP, to be in that mold, but don't want to or don't have the inclination to be able to play sort of 5, 6, 7, 1K, 2K buy-ins. So daily deep stacks offers them something kind of in the middle. And it was sad to see those kind of not run, but we now oversee them. And so it should be good. So that for me is the important thing. But there are some interesting things. I mean, if you had a proper look at the schedule.
No.
Yeah, I scanned down it for 20 seconds. Yeah, it's yeah.
So let me ask you this.
Hardly a deep look there, Leigh, by the sound of it. Did you see the second main event?
Yeah. You joke, there is one. But the Battle of the Ages, what do we think about that?
Huh? Battle of the Ages.
Sorry, is that for the podcast award at the GPI?
But isn't it just a bit? It's a bit gimmicky, isn't it? It's just do you not think?
It is, but I think.
Well, there you go then. So I'm sorry.
Well,
it is gimmicky, yeah.
But from a logistics point, so for those that are unaware, it's a 1K buy-in. Day 1A can only be played by players 50 or over.
Oh,
and Day 1B can only be played by people under the age of 50. Now, the big kind of problem I think that I can see from it, so it's targeted at a relatively good price point for the series. 1K is low on the schedule of things. However, what do we think the amount of players that go to the series? What's the distribution between over 50 and under 50s? Because I feel like there could be a massive disadvantage when we think about chips in play on each of the day ones. If you have 2,000 players under 50 and 1,000 players over 50, and they play the same amount of levels, which they will, all of those over 50 players, their average stack from their day is going to be half, right? Based on the blinds. Crudely, obviously I'm thinking crudely, but it does give them a massive disadvantage going into day 2 when they're fighting out for the real money. So I'm not sure that one's really been thought about too deeply. But yeah, just an interesting thing that popped up when I kind of looked at it.
Yeah, but this is the problem. See, this is the thing with it. I mean, the headline was obviously 100, 100 events. It's like, well, yeah, but it was 99 last year. So,
True.
I mean, that's hard. But they were making a big deal of it, and you're like, well, it really isn't. But yeah, we'll see what we'll see how it pans out. And obviously, there's a big discussion at the moment around increased prices and things like that. But we'll come on to that in a little bit. But I want to just go back to this time last week, Dan, because we really should give you the right treatment for the superb performance that you put in the winter leaderboard. Let me bring the final leaderboard up on the screen so we can see it was comfortable in the end, Dan. I mean, going into that last week, we are even remotely worried that pesky little Tony Ross might just nip in there and take the top spot in the end?
No, I wasn't. Not really. I wasn't sure whether I was going to play it, so I did the maths beforehand, and obviously just registering kind of locks you up the minimum 5 points, which when I did the math meant that Tony needed, I think it was 4th or better, and I think it was Snake that came. Sharky Lad that came third needed 3rd or better. And I thought to myself, they're getting sort of 40 to 50 runners. That's not guaranteed. I'm pretty comfortable. So I didn't register. And then when I got to Malta, I quickly logged on to see if it would let me log on to Malta, and it did. So that was good. So I decided just to see how it was playing out. And then when I got back and put the kids to bed, I noticed that there was only like 25 runners, which is always a risk on the last day of a leaderboard series when, a big part of the prize pool's missing, in essence, if you can't win first place. So I kind of made a last minute decision to max late reg it and hope to win some flips, which we did, which was good.
Well, yeah, you also spun up a nice bit of cash and confirmed that top spot. So the £1,500 UK Open main event seat, million guarantee at Coventry. I think this festival started already. I think the Mystery Bounty event was over the weekend. Looking forward to that one then?
Yeah. So Leigh Des has finished. Mystery Bounty is on day 2 today, I think, if I'm checking it correctly. Yeah, it should be fun. Not often you get to flick in a big buy-in like that. So yeah, hopefully we will run relatively okay. And if not, it's just cost me a bit of fuel to Coventry and back, so I can't complain. And
a little bit of a mention for those others that were, picked up some decent prizes. So Tony Ross, Reno, and Mark Sharky Lad both pick up a mini Open seat. So that's not bad, £340 worth. They get to play in that one. And Hardcore Womble, who was as Karen. And did we ever find out who Snake 29 was?
I have found out, but I can't. He's a UK reg. He's a reg from the GUKPT circuit.
Okay, cool, awesome. So they both picked up APAT 110. So how did you find the quality of the play? You played probably about 6 of the 9? Did you over the 5 of the 9, 6 of the 9 over the duration, something like that?
6, yeah. I played 6 in total. I mean, the quality must have been terrible because I had a ridiculous run where I came first, second, and second, which is never going to, I'll never be that lucky again. So I'm very fortunate. But actually, what was really interesting was the structure played out in such a way that there were kind of these bottlenecks, especially around the points, final table points, etc. And surprisingly, everybody played pretty well. I thought it never felt like it was going to be easy to get into the big points or easy to go deep. So yeah, I think everybody played well. I mean, heads up, I got absolutely battered by Chris Bean, which was less than enjoyable. But to be fair, he did share his hand history heads up with me, and I think he had about 17 pocket pairs in 20 hands, so that made me feel a bit better. But yeah, I think look at some of these scores. These people are going deep regularly. Obviously, we talked about Tony, Mark, but even Bob Mouse, Franny. Some of these guys were really kind of ever pressing and really putting the pressure on. People that understand leaderboards know how to, if they understand them correctly, they can apply the pressure well. And I felt under an immense amount of pressure especially on the last 2 final tables I made. People were absolutely going for me because they knew I needed to kind of just ignore the prize pool and ladder up. So it was good to see people. It's the APAT team event, right? I think they've just learned the strategy from there and carried it over.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they know they know. Yeah, they know when to fold the pairs that they don't need to, or when to apply pressure, because just because they can. It's been learnt over the years.
Well, the last week when Rob Hallworth, my talk club teammate, he beat me heads up in that one. But oh my god, he just from 6-handed, he just battered all of us because he knew that me and Tony were holding on for points. So I think by the time we got heads up, I think he had 45 big blinds versus my 10. There was just nothing. But I could never play for first place because second place was still good enough if I outlasted the people that I was worried about. So yeah, I thought everybody played well, even in the $5 or the £5 leaderboard as well. I don't know who ended up winning that. I didn't check.
I can head that way now because that's where I was going to go to next, just to kind of say you ended up fourth in that one, Dan.
Did I? I didn't realise. That's not too bad.
Yeah. You picked up a £30 APAT event ticket for that one, but McLennox got the win in the end. Tony finished second in that one as well. That's not a bad performance from Tony, is it really, across both of them?
I'll tell you who surprised me. Well, not surprised me, but I have when you play with players for a long time, so the APAT regulars we've played with for some of us 15 years plus. There was one player that I played with a handful of times in this series that I've had to completely eradicate my mental notes on this person. And that is I believe it to be Brian Frew, which is Douglas Dew. Is that right?
Yeah.
Brian, all the things I thought about you are absolutely wrong. You were the amount of aggressive pressure, and it's not. I'm not being negative, but I've known Brian for a long time. I've played with him. But on these games, he was, calling off. I think there was one tournament on the final table where I needed the points, and I'm jamming, and he's just calling me off with ace-4 off, for almost all of his stack. And it's just it's so right to do. But I thought I could get most things through there. I thought Brian was going to be very snug and try and eke his way forward. But yeah, he put me in some absolute horrible spots. So don't do that again, Brian, please.
Plenty of experience in Brian Frew, I'm telling you. Very good. Very good. So Leigh, listen, we've talked 20 minutes about poker so far. But of course, no games on Grosvenor tonight, no APAT games. We're back next week, right? So there's a bunch of you guys out in the chat box. Do say hello. Say hello. If you've got any questions for Dan, do bring them up. So what do we have starting next week, Leigh?
Yeah, so next week we're going to have, we were hoping to get Championship weekend up for this weekend, but we haven't been able to do that, so we're going to move that to next weekend. So next Sunday night we'll have our first medal events, online medal events of 2025. But of course, there's still plenty going on Grosvenor at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've showed you this page before. Let me head back to the promotions tab here and say you can see all the different promotions and bits and pieces that they've got on the go. I was just going to find the Irish Open one here. Just say they're absolutely smashing the packages on this on a Sunday night. So you can win your main event seat plus €1,000 cash towards hotel and other expenses on Grosvenor and be part of Team Grosvenor over in Dublin this Easter, which is just going to be huge. I mean, there's so many sites now qualifying players to go over there. Say it's absolutely massive. Have you seen the schedule over there, Des, for this now for the 12 days? They've extended it from last year. Let me bring the schedule up for you.
Just insane, right?
It's just nuts. So it starts on the 10th, Thursday, the 10th of April, and it is just absolute constant event after event right the way through. I don't think we've even started the main. I'm on the Tuesday. I don't think the main event's even started yet. But there's mixed games in there. There's ladies event. There's satellites every day. There's a mini main running every single night that you can qualify. That's got €1 million guarantee. The mini main event. The main event's got a 2.5 million guarantee to it. I think they're going to absolutely smash the numbers that they did last year, and last year was absolutely insane. And that you get right the way through to the Easter Monday, say, and even the events on there, they've got the usual Liam Flood Memorial. I cashed in that last year. Yeah,
really?
the Liam Flood Memorial.
Nice.
Yeah, finished 25th in that last year. Lovely little event actually on the last day to jump into. Say it's only weirdly you think a 15-minute clock, it's going to be absolutely super turbo, whatever, but actually it isn't. You've got you still get plenty of play in it, and well worth doing. And it's going to be super well covered via the media. I'm assuming Poker News are all, because it's pretty much the biggest event outside of Vegas now, Dan. It's got to be close, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely close. Yeah, we'll be there in some capacity for sure. I mean, obviously both PokerStars and Paddy, who are sponsors, are partners of ours, so we tend to do a little bit. I mean, there's even a Flutter Invitational tournament that's a free roll. I mean, I've not got my invite yet, which is, I think, a bit rude, but
shocking.
What day's that on?
That's on the Tuesday.
Is it early?
Tuesday the 15th. Yeah, I won't. Well,
I don't think I fly out till the Wednesday, so I won't get any. Well, if I get an invite, I'll let you have it, Dan. You can have it.
I can't make it, so please don't. I'm in Brazil for the beginning of April, and then I'm in Malta at the end of April.
Des, look at so the day I fly out on the Wednesday. I'm going out for the last 6 days. You literally can't fit the whole schedule. The whole schedule. That's one day.
Look at the state of it. And Leigh, you and I had the absolute pleasure of sharing a small bite to eat with the lovely Jen Mason last, I want to say Sunday night, right?
Yes, it would have been Saturday or Sunday. Yeah, Sunday.
And Jen's going to be blogging the thing. The Tower, as we know from the previous week's going to be doing the live streaming and stuff. So, in addition to Poker News, I mean, the content coming out of this, on top of the poker, it's going to be first rate.
Well, I think Jen, let's put her in the position that she should be. Actually, I think Jenny manages the team of bloggers and content that gets done, which requires somebody in their own right to look after all of that, because and make that all happen. So it's absolutely huge. And of course, if you want to get involved in getting out there, there are satellites running on Grosvenor and everywhere else, but don't forget that tomorrow night on Raffles we have got. Let me bring up the live draw section. And you can see it there, top left of that screen. Main event seat plus 4 nights hotel plus a little bit of money for your travel. We've still got 886 tickets left on that. So that's like over a third of the tickets are still available. We're drawing it. Well, just nearly less than 24 hours now, and it will get drawn. £1 a ticket if you want to get involved.
£1 a ticket, Leigh.
That one.
Somebody's going to Dublin, right? They get hotel. It's a $2.5 million guaranteed event. Bucket list item. Again, I think you've got to play the Irish Open. Do it once. Sweet. Yeah, no,
absolutely well worth getting involved in. So, of course, the other big thing going on this week, overnight, was the latest poker awards. The Global Poker Awards got announced. I think they announced a few during the day, or certainly a day, our time, leading up to it. And then there was a big shindig over in Vegas that took place overnight. Really good results for. Have you seen the results, Des? Are you aware of?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some of them. I've seen some people glory in their successes on the timeline today.
Okay, before we go through the winners, did you know there was a 2-time APAT medalist that won an award?
Yes. I know.
Where are you going? Where are you going?
An old APAT favorite who won an APAT award. Ironically,
no. So,
but you're thinking somebody different.
Somebody that has won 2 APAT medals in the past few years.
Niall?
And won an award last night. I'm not even 100% sure what the award was for. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that bit in a minute. Dan's looking puzzled.
I mean, I know who. I do know who it is. I know who it is. I know. And here's a fact. Yes, I remember. He actually came second in my bracelet win. I beat him heads up. I just remember doing it.
It all links through really, really well. Yeah, it all links through really, really well. So. A couple of years ago at the WCOAP at Dust Till Dawn, do you remember a chap called Dominic French
Oh, of course I know
That,
Dominic.
yeah.
Runner up to
Well,
Dan in the old PLO 6.
Yeah.
Whatever it was.
7, 8.
I'm not 100% sure what the award is
He
for.
showed me his ring, Lee.
Yes, he did show you his ring. There's no doubt that will have happened. You weren't the only one that got to see.
It was very late night thing, Lee. I was.
But Dom
not
picked
sure.
up the Hendon Mob award overnight. Now I'm not 100% sure what it's for, but I'm assuming it's to do with number of flags, different flags in the year. Is it, Dan? Would that be right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, it's the most unique international flags in the 12-month period.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. So I'll go over and bring up Dominic French Dino's. So let me scroll down to where we
I know,
met
it's
him.
insane. I did this journey a couple of months back.
So this is where we met him here. You can see he finished third in the PLO, finished seventh in the antes only, and then finished second in the PLO 456. No idea who won that one, but anyway, but so that was August 2023. Now I'm going to struggle with some of the flags on here, I think, Dan, so you might need to help me. So he went off to the Caribbean, cashed out there, then to Brazil, then back to the States. They all look like Vegas ones. There's a really good one coming up in a bit, Des. You're going to love this. Then Calgary. So he's gone to Calgary. We're January 24 now, so first month of last year. Back to Las Vegas, cashed in Las Vegas, a whole load in early 2024. Loutraki in Greece in March.
Nice.
Then Rosvadov. So we're in prime Europe here now.
Back in Europe now.
Then he's Sofia. He's gone to Namur. Love Namur.
Beautiful spot.
Fantastic. We've been over there. Portugal. We're saying. Is it just Troy? I don't know quite how you pronounce that one. Not sure.
Yeah, vamos. Yeah.
Yeah. So then into France. Then he's at Nova Gorica. Then he's gone down to somewhere in Africa, Grand Bay. Where do we think that is? Oh no, it says it's Mauritius.
Wow.
So yeah,
it's very small on my screen, but yeah.
Yeah, Sun City. Then back up to the Netherlands. Then back over to Vegas, Madagascar, Germany. Then Manila. Then Taipei City, even really struggling with this voice.
Then Cambodia,
then Tallinn. We're now in July, by the way, so we're still going strong here. Luzerne, Punta del Este, and then we're back over we're in South America. So he's then done one in Argentina, up to Mexico. He's finished in Mexico, and then 3 weeks later, he's cashing in Copenhagen. Yeah, this is just then Georgia. So we're back in Europe again. Riga. Where is that?
That's Macedonia.
North Macedonia. Yeah, Macedonia. Yeah. Then Norway. Then he's in Zagreb. So we're still doing.
Sorry, here's
the fun one. So he does Helsinki on the 16th of October. He's then in San Remo on the 18th of October, right? On the 24th of October, he's in Andorra. Somehow in between, he gets a cash in a nightly comp in Cardiff at Le Crufts. How is that even possible? So
in a nightly comp,
Remo,
it's like it's not even
San Remo. Yeah, 6 days later he's in Andorra, and somehow he's in the 25 plus 10 nightly comp at Le Crufts, which I can only assume was to get a Welsh flag. Yeah, I can only assume it was to get a Welsh flag.
You can imagine him on the phone, couldn't you? Excuse me, mate. You're £25 nightly. Is it on Hendon Mob?
Have you got an event on? Yeah, and it's on Head On. Just to conclude his year, because I mean, this is what he won his award for. And
Amazing.
it's just phenomenal. Barcelona. Where are we going then? Marinheim. Then he's gone over to the Asian Poker Tour. He's done Kuala Lumpur. He's in Korea. Where's he gone? He's then gone to Australia. So he's got Australia in. He's then also got New Zealand in by doing Christchurch. And I think he's then headed back to Europe for the end of the year. And he's managed to squeeze in Austria. Wow. Where is that? Liechtenstein. Yeah, he's gone to Budapest. He's done Hungary. He's got Sweden in. He's gone to Scotland. He's gone to Glasgow again to an evening comp, a 28+7 in Glasgow. Ticks that one off on the 16th of December. First trip to Malta. He's done Malta very late on. Portomasso there, and Poland, and yeah, pretty much concludes the year in Poland.
Starts the year in Dakar.
Yeah, yeah.
The thing is, what we need to do
it's just
now,
nuts. It's so impressive.
We need to run through that and figure out what his average cash is, and then what the flight costs from place to place are.
Well, no, listen. So I remember having quite a chat with Dominic back in August 23. I guess that's when we met him, gents. And actually was super impressed with him. He was a lovely guy. It was obvious from talking to him that he did travel a lot and did play a lot of poker in different markets. He kind of made that clear, and he was super proud of winning the World Series of Poker circuit ring.
There he is. And there it is.
Yeah, there you go, and quite rightly so. I mean, that's a brilliant achievement.
Yeah.
But outside of that, and he did show it to a few people, so it might be easy to walk away with the opinion that he was, that there was a bit of ego there. But actually, he was quite a humble guy.
No.
He was
really nice, nice guy.
I remember he was super complimentary about APAT. He was really delighted to have kind of happened upon us, to have found us. Said he would be back. Would be great to see him back. But what a story! I mean, you could talk about the amount of travel, the amount of buy-ins. There's lots of stuff you could, start on this story with. But I guess the thing that screams out to me is he's made the top 10, 15, 20% of fields in all of these tournaments. He must be one hell of a player.
Well, I think he's a very good player. Yeah, absolutely. I think I did speak to him, and if I remember the story correctly, I think he's retired now. He's earned his money. And now this is his passion. So, it's obviously a passion. What they say? I can't think of the words now, but it's a passion project. He's out there playing, but it's just.
But it's a massive bucket list thing, and to be honest, to do that sort of number, I mean, I didn't. I'll have to count them up exactly how many it is, but I don't know whether is that an award that they do every year for whoever's got the most different flags or not, or was it a one-off just simply because of that? Yeah, because that's just a phenomenal number of different flags to do in 12 months, isn't it?
So from my understanding, it is the first time they've done it, but I think the last 18 to 24 months, this flag hunting thing's really got a lot more attention in the poker media. So Maureen, that looks after Globetrotting Poker, is a big advocate. I think she might have come second to him last year, actually. But yeah, it's definitely become a big thing. But I'm trying to think how many. I did read that. I want to say it's like 30 something, 39 maybe. It was a crazy amount.
I mean, but what I would say is it's he's not doing it to be profitable. He's doing it because what an amazing story, and I'd love the world. And we'll reach out to him actually because I only came across the award when I was doing a bit of, I was going to say research for the show. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. I quickly scrolled down the website but I'd love to get him on the show and have a proper chat about how that year was for him, because that's a phenomenal amount of travel. I wonder how many days he actually spent at home. Or I'm not even sure where home. Actually, it might say on here where home is. So Victoria in Canada. So would love to know how much time he actually did spend home, or whether he just treated it as some people just go, I'm just going to go off traveling for a year. I mean, and see what happens, and I'm going to play some poker whilst I'm doing it. I mean, I tell you what, Leigh,
Yeah, listen, Ronnie O'Sullivan's going to have to reanalyze his energy level sort of deficiencies, because 3 weeks away at a snooker tournament and he's had to cancel about 4 or 5 events afterwards. It seems like Dominic French is on the road every week. And I don't know how much of Cardiff he saw. Probably not a lot between Andorra and wherever else it was that bookended that day. But crikey, that's getting around.
So this is what you need to do. So the Oracle's in the chat, and 300 nights in a hotel. Now, I don't know whether that's a statement or a suggestion or an offer. I mean, it could be any of those.
Prize, 300 nights in a hotel, £1 a ticket.
Yeah, I mean, it could be any of those. But I'm guessing, that would probably make sense, wouldn't it? That actually, he's spent roughly, one day a week at home on average, something like that. That feels about right. Yeah.
Wow. Listen, Leigh, going into the chat box, first of all, Sharky's there. Bunch of you out there. Guys, you're all very quiet tonight, but Sharky is there. Going back to Dan's leaderboard win. Well done, Dan. Absolutely bossed it. I was gutted when you appeared in the field with 10 minutes left to register. Oh, it's a bit of a slow roll.
He did it on purpose.
Bit of a slow roll there, I thought, Leigh.
We all knew what was coming.
Bit of a slow roll.
He's not there. And look, there he is.
There he is. Just popped up, Leigh. He's popped up for the 5 points. Might not play. Oh, there he is. He's playing.
No. I think when I registered, I'd locked up 20 points by waiting that long.
Strategy. Simon also goes on to say, to be honest, if I died, then was brought back to life, think I'd play poker and travel as much as I can.
Yeah.
Fair. Absolutely.
And isn't it weird,
right?
Yeah. Sometimes when you're traveling, it's sometimes difficult, unless you've really got that travel bug. It's some sort of trying to find a reason to go somewhere. What I find with poker is, poker gives me that reason to go to places that I wouldn't normally choose to go to. I think I've said that before on the show. There's places I would never have visited but poker gives you that reason to go there, and then it's kind of like, okay, it's seeing somewhere different. So,
like Nottingham.
Nottingham's delightful. I keep going back. I love it that much. The Holiday Inn at the Castle Marina. I cannot get enough of that place. It's just I booked up again for August. I mean, I just I feel I just need to get back there sooner if I possibly can. I'm sure it won't be the last time this year that we'll be. That's true. So back on the now we've done the guessing game of Dominic. So. Award winners. Let me see if I can blow that up a little bit. How about that? There we go. So we can see. So I guess some of this is fairly obvious. Dan, the Poker Player of the Year was David Coleman, and then I don't know what they call a mid-major Player of the Year is the kind of the lower buy-ins, I presume, yeah?
Yeah, I think that's anything from like 1K to 25Ks, isn't it? Not the high roller scene, basically.
Yeah, so Hang Feng won that. Cherish Andrews, who I had in my fantasy WSOP pick either last year or the year before, female player of the year. Jessie Lonis was most weeks, which is obviously a standard calculation, so nothing with there. Jeremy Osmus was picked quite a few times in fantasy. I would say it's names that you see from fantasy WSOP, which is going to be coming around again soon, by the way, guys. Should bear that in mind. I'm assuming Carl and John are doing it again this year. Maybe I've just dropped a minute, but I'm pretty sure they will be. So another pick from that. Breakout Player of the Year, Naz Redner. There was a couple of instances on some live streams with her, wasn't it, of interesting hands that she got of her that I saw a few months back. But I think know much more about her than that.
So, wow, she wins this award. She's a businesswoman from America, but she final table back-to-back EPTs this year, just gone. I can't remember which ones they were now. If I really racked my brains, I could probably figure it out by deduction. But yeah, she went back to back in made 2 EPT final tables. So I think that's, and obviously being a US player and coming over to Europe to play EPTs exclusively and final tabling 2 in a row is a pretty mean feat. So I think she absolutely deserves that.
And speaking of EPT performances, best final table performance was the one and only Barney Boatman. Difficult to know how you vote for something like that. I mean, I know they put nominations together, and is that? Does it reckon that's the case?
Yeah, I think so.
That's probably a fair way to look at it. I don't quite know how else you score it. Otherwise, it's not like a boxing match, is it? Where you can, you're scoring a player as they're going through the rounds.
Well, as you know, Leigh, we as APAT operated our own awards. Some years ago, we did it for 2 or 3 years, and we mostly took cash. Cash. Food items, basically anything like that at all, and
Yeah.
I was so broke during those years.
Yeah.
Couldn't even buy one.
Yeah. Speaking of one of those that gave us the cash, Barry Carter.
Barry Carter,
best X. I mean, is that X-rated Twitter personality? Is that what he is? Yeah. Is that how it works? Barry's work. Yeah. Barry's. To be fair, I follow Barry on Twitter, and actually, I think he really upped his game in the last 12 months. Barry's a very, very funny guy and very knowledgeable about the industry, and is very insightful in stuff that but I've felt very much his content in the last 12 months has really, really gone up massively in quality and how entertaining it is, and so thoroughly deserved in my view from that. But I don't know how again, it's another one of those where you go, well, somebody you'll find funny or interesting, and others you won't. And in the poker world, especially on Twitter, it's pretty toxic at most times, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Barry kind of ended up raising his head above the parapet a bit this year. He's been a lot more cutting and a lot closer to the cloth with some of the stuff, which I think is good. Putting people to kind of to the sword, which I don't think they'd have seen from him before. Whereas normally Twitter personality tends to be that positive kind of character. Like you think back to Jamie Kersetter, for an example, her Twitter content was a lot less scathing and very much just spreading positivity into the industry, which isn't a bad thing. But you're right, this year Barry just came with some absolute, clangers to kind of put people under the cosh, which I think is good. And I think he deserved it.
And it's just nice to see him step out of Dara's shadow just occasionally, just to to show that there is he can stand on his own 2 feet and add to the poker world. I think it's nice. We like Barry a lot, so it's good. Spraggy picked up best streamer, which is again I guess it's a bit of a popularity contest. There's some good guys out there, including yourself, Dan. Obviously, when you decide to fire the live stream.
The best 2 streamers on Twitch both live in Stroud, Spraggy and myself. What more can I say?
There you go.
Share the same IP. It must be it.
Yeah, it must be something in the water. Brad Owen, best vlogger. Don't really follow much of Brad's stuff, so can't really comment. Dan, any view on that?
No, vlogging's a weird one. I feel in the last 12 months it's really kind of started to die off. You've got Mariano and Brad. They've both been around for a long time. You've got some newer people like Gary B, the Scottish lad who's Coin Poker Pro now. I think poker's always going to have a bigger reach in the US. So when you're looking at the numbers on YouTube, people like Brad and Mariano are always going to absolutely batter some of the other content creators. It doesn't mean the others don't make good content. They're just, their reach is smaller. But Brad's good. Brad's been doing it for a long time. He was one of the sort of OGs in the space, and he's continued the work ethic, which I think is good. So I think he deserves it. I just I'm not sure it's a category we'll potentially see next year, in my opinion. I think it's slowly kind of dissipating.
No, maybe being replaced by more of this short form stuff, with Marley picking up the award for that one. And again, Marley's been putting good content out from day one of when she started doing that, and it's no surprise that she picked up an award there. Somebody you do know a little bit about, Dan, Abby Merck, picked up the rising star in content creation. Again, she's kind of exploded on the poker scene in the last 12-18 months.
I had a chat with Abby in Vegas. So Abby worked for was freelance, worked for PokerNews. She came with me on the cruise, and I kind of had her in my team making some content. Abby's brilliant. Nobody works harder in the industry than Abby. She understands kind of herself, her shortfalls, and she definitely had a goal. I remember speaking to her WSOP this year, so kind of halfway through the year. Sorry, last year, halfway through the year, and she asked for a chat, and we sat down, and she was asking me about kind of her next steps, what she should do. She had these offers on the table, and what was really interesting is, like, I didn't realize, but at the start of the year, she had kind of sat down after the GPIs last year, because she was there with us working, just making content for the industry, and she kind of had written on this piece of paper that was still in her phone case that just said win a GPI award. And she'd kind of been there in that thing and had just made a decision that that's what she was aiming for. It might take a year, it might take 5 years, but she was going to go and do it. And she quit her full-time job, which was, quite a nice job back in Chicago. And she made it her mission just to make authentic content while still working for us and other brands that she's now partnered with, BetMGM. So, and she did it. She was releasing content every day. And she's brilliant. And I'm so chuffed for her. Gutted I wasn't able to be there to see her pick it up. So I think she's really worked hard for it. But yeah, no, it's a good one to see. Definitely.
Go, Des. And that's why in 20 years we've never won one of these things. We should have written it on a piece of paper. Why did we not think of that? Yeah.
I don't. I don't spend a lot of time looking at these, Leigh. I have to tell you, because here we are, 20 years on, and don't think we've ever been nominated for anything, Leigh. To be honest.
No.
Which, given the longevity of our first tour, the first in the UK, right, ahead of GUKPT, we were out ahead of Dusk Till Dawn, we were ahead of Gala, Coral, when they did their Sky Poker, Virgin, and here we are 20 years later, still operating successfully. But no nominations.
A few industry awards there for Francine, Luca, and Ryan. I don't know how you do best event. They've given it to the main event last year. I think there's probably better events out there than that one. But hey ho. Brazilian Series picked up the mid major best standalone. Now I'm glad Irish Open picked up that. I mean, I've been raving about their having gone last year. I thought it was just absolutely superb. So really pleased that those guys picked up that award. A couple of other shout outs then for the best podcast, which was Lapin and Dara for the chip race. Again, we've had the guys on the show, and they are super good. So really pleased for them, and nice to see Dara and Barry get pick up the best poker book award as well, because they put a lot of effort into that whole series of books. And again, we've had them on talking about that before. I mean, my only worry with all of this is we're planning on getting them both on the show to chat about their new poker training offering, and I've got a funny feeling the fee's going to go up through the roof now. Now they're multi-award winners now. I mean, we're going to get screwed over, aren't we, with this? I think it's unfortunate. Now, I haven't watched the 4 Rules of the Poker Kings, the documentary about the Scottish poker players yet. Have either of you guys seen that?
No. Yeah. No, I've watched it. It's really good. It's a kind of fly on the wall of Niall Farrell. It's kind of journey after having a kid. And I'm really happy that one. So interestingly, for this category, a project that I designed and managed got longlisted, I suppose you call it. So we didn't make the final 4, but it was nominated in the 8 that then went to private voting to chop it down.
Yeah, so, I think Des and I had a few of our projects were in those the long lists.
Quite a few of our projects. They were on the long list.
Yeah. The long list. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, the long list. Yeah. We've all. But so you carry on telling the story, Dan. I mean, don't worry.
There was a week where I potentially could have won a GPI award, which was very exciting. But no, I'd obviously watched all of the content that were.
Would you have flown in? Yeah, would you have cancelled the Malta holiday and flown in if you were up?
Well,
if you were
I'm not sure, because I cancelled a holiday to Marrakesh to go to the cruise to run the project I designed. So cancelling 2 holidays for one thing, especially if I didn't win it, might not have gone down too well.
What would you have needed? Would a nomination might not have been enough? What if you knew? What if they told you you're definitely gonna win this?
Oh, yes.
I mean,
yes.
Are you sending a text message? Yeah, is that what's happening here? Yeah, you're sending for young Jeffrey to read out on the stage. Is that what's happening here?
Honestly, I'd have to. Otherwise, every time somebody walked past me, I think I'd be served papers from the wife. So I'd be terrified. They hand me the envelope, and I'd be like, "That's papers. That's papers." But no, this is a really good one. If you've got time, watch it. It's on BBC Scotland. It is really good.
I think Simon Lawless just said it's still on iPlayer.
Yes,
so
yes,
it's still available on iPlayer. So yeah.
Really
listen, boys. I want you to picture this, right? Next year, right, we're going to send an email, right, to Phil Hellmuth or Harry Hill or whoever the fuck runs these awards, right? We're going to send an email and we're going to say, Harry,
it's not Phil Hellmuth. He
It's
hasn't
more
got
like
time.
it's
Phil Ivey or Harry, whoever.
Harry, I'd love it to be Harry Hill.
Whoever runs these things, right?
I'd love it to be Harry
You
Hill.
can imagine that, could you?
We're going to say, Harry, just imagine for a moment, best innovation in poker that doesn't come from live or online. Okay, picture a raffle site. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. Picture a raffle site. We could maybe organize a new category, right, with just one nomination. What do you think, Lee?
Yeah,
you know what they'll do?
What do you think?
Best international amateur team
sweepstakes.
event.
It'll be sweepstakes, and it'll be you don't count because you're
Binks
not American.
Casino is going to win it, guys.
Yeah, that's what it'll be. Absolutely. Just quickly finishing off the award list, just so we don't miss anybody out there. Nicky Limo picked up the best media content for short form, which I actually thought was I remember watching that one. Very good indeed. Danny Maxwell, whose photography is absolutely superb. You'll see him all over the place with his content. Congratulations to them. Brad Willis. We got who else we got there? Again, these are not necessarily anybody else that we know. Best poker room was fans' choice, and it was it's a popularity contest, isn't it? But it was a playground in Montreal. Never been there, but it does look quite impressive place. There's Dominic. With the Hendon Mob Award, and finally the charitable community initiative was Poker Gives. Now I could think of another organisation that should get a notable mention in that category, and may well in future years get a shout out there, most definitely. But I'm not even sure what Poker Gives is, but or who runs that. But I will look into it. But there you go. So they're the GP awards for 20. Well, they call them 2024, but yeah, technically presented in 2025. Dan's going to be there next year. It's decided. It's written on a piece of paper. Going to follow Abby's form, and that'll work.
I'm definitely not winning the Hendon Mob Award. I'm not sure one cashing Nottingham a year is gonna suffice.
It's not going to swing it. It is not going to swing it.
But if you do want to get yourself to Vegas and it's not to pick up an award, hey, you could spend £1 and see if you can get there for the main event this year.
Thin.
It's not a bad. But what we can confirm now is we know when that main event is going to be. We've had it in there as being. We knew it was going to be July, but actually the full schedule is out, and we did touch on it at the top of the show. But yeah, 100 events in there. Let's just scroll down to find that main event just to confirm. I think it's the beginning of July. There it is. There. Thursday, July the 3rd is Flight B. Flight 8 on Wednesday the 2nd. So 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th are the main one. So are we assuming, Dan, that the record's going again? Is that just a safe assumption? With GG on board now, obviously they've been sending a lot of online players there for a number of years now, but are we just assuming they're not going to want to have the first year where they're fully in ownership of it and it not smash the numbers? Is that pretty much a given?
Yeah, I expect it to obliterate the numbers. I think you'll see a shed load of satellites and whatever else and offering. They'll be filtering through as many players as they can. I mean, they've obviously got a very good proof of concept when you look at WSOP that they do in the Bahamas. They're obviously running online day ones. Now, this won't have online day ones. It's too prestigious for that, but they will find a way to funnel as many players as they can through. And I think this is the year that a lot of operators are really going to focus on that. We know that Grove's going to try to send some players, and 888 have some try and send some players, and so on and so forth. I feel this is the year that it's just going to go crazy, which is good for poker. So it's good for everybody, I think.
Yeah, I would tend to assume that will very much be the case. They haven't really tweaked a huge amount else with the schedule. There's been some little price hikes. I think the Colossus has gone up about $100. I want to set it from $400 to $500. So a few of the small ones have had slight increases price point. But the reality of it is we talked about it in the UK. Obviously, the type of levels of inflation that we've had in the UK and cost of living for a number of years now. But we're not the only country that's seen that. So the reality of it is things are going to go up. Weirdly, the main event's been at $10,000 for ever.
Yeah, forever. Yeah, forever.
You know, I mean, you do kind of wonder at some point. You know, it surely has to move with with the times, or do you think it will always just be 10,000? It becomes more affordable.
Well, it's an interesting one. I saw something that was saying that when it first ran, it was $10,000, which in today's money would be 85K. But then I remember the first year I went to the WSOP, and I didn't play it obviously, but the conversion rate between pound and dollar at the time meant that it was only a 5K buy-in for Brits. It was like literally you were getting 2 to 1.
Yeah.
And then you look at kind of where it is now. So it's interesting to think in that it's obviously a relatively long time, a decent time span, just what the price point has actually been for like Europeans versus the US, and then adding inflation on. I think it will stay, because the thing is now is in the economy, they'll just add more high rollers, right? They'll just add, they've done it this year. They've added more 10K, 20Ks, 25Ks, 50Ks, 100Ks. They can do that. You know, the audience is there. So I don't think they ever need to change the price point. And ultimately what will happen is this event will just get more and more runners because of the price point staying at 10K.
Yeah.
I think
that's okay. Leigh, I mean, there's probably not too much wrong with the schedule, but hopefully they can improve some of the infrastructure items around the World Series of Poker. Mm-hmm. We talked about this last week or the week prior. Particularly trying to remove those ziggy lanes that we were talking about earlier as well. Just get players into events more easily through apps and through QR codes, and just more easily, and allow players to get their money back out, the whole tax thing, and just basically make it a more comfortable experience for players to get in and out of the World Series of Poker.
I mean, this should be an easy thing though, right? Because GG already have these avenues. They have their own cashier from an online standpoint. There will be integration, I'm sure. I know at Paradise in the Bahamas, the events that GG sponsor already, they have an app that Daniel Negreanu bangs on about it all the time, absolutely loves it. But they have an app that's linked, so you can actually register GG account app or deposit into app, and then register for the event there. And then you don't need to go through this whole manual buy-in process. It assigns you a seat automatically. Yeah. You can go to your seat, show your ticket, and away you go. So
do it.
Yeah, I think maybe this won't be the year because it's so soon, but I think in the oncoming years we'll see. Yeah. We'll see it definitely improve.
And when you go to somewhere like DTD, and it's so easy to track players across the tournament, where they are, who sat in what seats and stuff like that. I mean, stuff like that just needs to get easier. And, the tracking of chip counts. And I know you guys, have been trying to crack this for quite some time. But that whole technical infrastructure around the World Series of Poker, that's the area that I think will increase players' level of experience and ultimately bring, more recreational players back. Because you don't want to spend hours queuing.
No. I mean, from a work perspective, of what you're saying with chips, like, the software's there. PokerStars have the software. We use it at all the EPTs. The dealers can update the chip counts on a screen every break. We don't, our live reporters don't need to go and source that information. We have a list of everybody who sat where. When somebody busts or there's a table move, we have that live. So when the guys can go and just, put a seat position, a table number, and relay a hand and come back with that information, and then they have access to populate all of the personal information from the player, the chip stacks, etc., etc. It exists. It should be something that's readily available. It's not. The WSOP prior ownership never wanted to invest any money into having that, which I understand. It's a bigger operation and they wanted to keep the money close. I get that. But I think now that GG are involved, again, I do think the longer term solution will be there, which is great for everybody.
Do you see a situation where AI gets more involved in poker reporting, in that you feed it the basic information from a hand and it pretty much can then go and grab a bit more data about the person and a bit more backstory and pull it pull it together without the need for a actual human reporter to do that? Is that where we're likely to go with some of this? Could we get to a point where you can just film the hand playing out on a camera and it picks up everything it needs to do and basically just goes, yeah, that's the player, face recognition, I know who that is, right, I now know what hand they've got, and it is that the future?
I don't think so. I think written form content is a dying art, and it's not what most people want to consume now. Hence why we have these awards like for Abby and stuff. Short form content is definitely the way forward, but there is a purist poker fan that want to read these updates and feel as if they're there. And I don't think AI, even as advanced as it is, will give that storytelling ability. Like, you take Mickey, who just won Live Reporter of the Year. I mean, Christian was nominated. These guys have been on the scene for 15, 20 years plus. They know all the players. They know their backstory. That they've been reporting on for donkey's years now. I think these guys are able to really include that in their writing, and I just think that's something that AI is not going to be able to be able to capture. Personally,
yeah, I mentioned this a week ago, Leigh, when we were talking, but I tested it up in Nottingham. It did not work. Taking a picture, just an ordinary picture of a player with a stack of chips in front of them, putting that into an AI, telling it what the chip color equals valuation was, and count the chips. What does the player have? Now, obviously, there's all sorts of issues around stacks and players having chips behind chips and stuff like that. But I thought that could be interesting. So could you have an AI that it would just publish a caption when you took a picture, which was, it knows kind of the level you're at, maybe what the average chip stack is, and it just says, 1.3 million, averages 900K. Something is so functional stuff, never the color stuff, because AI doesn't do color as well as people. But could it help with functional stuff? And it didn't make a bad guess on what was a very simple picture, but it was still 20% out, and with a complex stack that I'm sure would not have worked. But that could be interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
I think the reality is we're going to see these things move on. I think I still believe that there'll come a time where you'll be able to log on to watch follow a live event and pick which table you want to watch, and you'll be able to get a stream from that table in some form or another, whether it will be as detailed as a fully active table where it's reading all the cards. Who knows? But I think we will get to a point where it'll be far better for you to dip in and out to follow the people you want to follow in an event and actually live see what they're doing, and not be on a 30-minute delay or anything like that. Because ultimately that's we all know why the delays are there with the live streaming tables, because of for the integrity of the tournament and the fact that players could be being fed live information. So crikey, we've got enough of that at the moment with online, let alone in the live world, and obviously what went on last year with the laptops on the rail and everything. But I still think that at some point that's what you want. You want to be able to just dip in there and then and see what's going on, which is why I think where we do the our live final tables, yes, you don't get whole cards or anything like that, but actually you do get exactly what's going on in the room at the same time that the room is seeing it. And I think ultimately that technology is getting to the point now where they could have 100 tables in a room with 100 camera feeds that have got some sort of 360 camera on it that can show you the whole table, and you can just flick between who's sat where and what's going on. I think
the challenge is cost, though, right? That's a lot of tech to set up. So I think if you look at Triton, I think Triton's a prime example. If you download the Triton app, you can because the Tritons are high rollers, right? They only get 10 tables, probably maximum, probably not even that in these 25k buy-ins. All of the tables they use have the RFIDs, and they have those in the chips and the cards and there's somebody updating who's sat in what seat. So if any table change happens, that's done as well. So you can go onto the Triton app and literally read a hand history. Like as soon as that hand has finished, literally instantly it's there. And it shows you everybody's chip count, what the big blinds is, what the average stack is, what their stack is in big blinds, the hand as it played out, who's left, top 10 chip counts, payouts, everything, all in one app. Now, it's easy for them to do. I mean, they've obviously invested a lot of money to have that technology on all the 10 tables that they utilize. But Triton has the money to, invest in that technology for 10 tables. I think the challenge right now is, although poker is booming and poker tours are making money, are they making enough money to be able to kind of extrapolate that extravagant setup to 100 tables? Because, no disrespect to Dust Till Dawn, but I'm not sure they would be able to invest the money to, I mean, we saw them trying to build that bloody big screen, but, they're not going to be able to invest that money to cover 36 tables. It is a massive spend, and I'm not quite sure we're there yet. So until the cost of technology comes down to a point that it's scalable, I think we're kind of in that weird remit. It's definitely possible. It's just having the ability and the funds to be able to set it up.
I think, Leigh, that might be our GPI award opportunity. The fact that we can cover 36 tables live at an event on a relatively small budget, it has to be said. The cost of a gimbal.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought of that. I was just wittering away. But yeah, that's a possibility that we could do that. So that's the WSOP schedule. It is out. It starts on Tuesday, May the 27th, with the mystery millions. Then usually it's the employers event.
I was going to say this is the controversy at the moment. So last year there was a lot of hoo-ha around influencers playing the casino employees event. So
I don't think influencers should be playing it. I mean, I know your influencer, his name escapes me for the moment, but I think he had a good run in it, right?
He final tabled it, yeah.
But why are influencers playing? They're not casino employees.
Well, so it was a very grey area, but ultimately, Lucas...
It's not grey. Somebody's taking advantage of it. That's not grey at all. Come on. No, he's not a casino employee. He's on a contract. He's a sponsored sort of player. It's not grey.
But he's employed. So here's the line. So if you went, Des, you can play.
Don't give me the line. Don't give me the line.
I'll give you the line. I'm in the
industry. I know what's good or bad.
Sharon Osbourne, listen here. Right, I'm giving you the feedback. you could go and play it, right? You would, because if you had a poker media badge like I have, because I work in the media, I can play it because I'm considered to be an employee of, a partner or somebody in the industry.
But you are an employee of PokerNews, right? Nothing to do with your badge or anything else. You are an employee of PokerNews, and if they are accepted as a casino, whatever, in this event, then totally fine. But I think your sponsored player was he's an ambassador of your business, but he's not an employee of PokerNews.
He is paid by PokerNews to make the content.
But he's not an employee, right?
They allowed it.
Come on. I used to hire people to write poker content. They weren't employees.
So it used to be that it was casino. It used to be casino employees only, didn't it? So basically, it used to be just to give. It was put on as a bit of a thank you to the dealers predominantly, and then that kind of moved to industry. So then it was in industry employee, which I can completely understand. I cannot understand why any influencers would want to play that, because they're just going to they're opening themselves to a lot. It'd be like pros rocking up to want to play APAT. You kind of we're not going to necessarily say no, you can't, and kick off over it big style, but you're not giving yourself a good look, are you? If that's what you're choosing to do.
I think that one event in particular is, I'm sure it was created as a thank you to the dealers for what was going to be a very heavy summer of long hours, blah 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 blah, and it was a thank you. It was your chance to be in the game before it all started. Very healthy. Loved the idea of that. But the last thing you'd want is proper poker players getting in there and trying to take that bit of action away from them, because it kind of is a bit of a slap in the face to the
I
people
think,
who ultimately run the World Series of Poker.
no, I think the event's very different to that. So the guy that won it, I know the guy that won it. He hasn't been a dealer for about 6 or 7 years. He's a dealer from like Chicago that used to deal blackjack, but has been ultimately a grinder for however long, making a living from poker.
But,
Like most of the
why is he in it then?
well, because he's employed by a casino, and that's literally what the industry thing was. So it's not.
So
it wasn't signed.
he is a dealer?
He is no. So he deals blackjack at a casino in, I think it's Chicago, for like 10 hours a week. So technically, he has a 10-hour-a-week contract.
That's fine.
Right,
He's
perfect.
a
He's
casino
right.
employee. He deals cards. I'm sure he deals poker as well, right? He probably does blackjack, but he probably covers. And I'm much more comfortable with that than an ambassador or a sponsor player becoming involved. That's just my opinion, right? That's just
no. And I had originally told Lucas not to play it because I didn't think it was the greatest look.
Yeah.
However, what had happened was a couple of players, so Nikki Limo, who won an award, who was working for Poker.org, another media company, and a handful of other players that we knew had already registered and were sat down and playing. I was in the event. I didn't know what was going on. And then he ends up sitting on a table next to me, and I'm a bit like, okay. But I spoke to the WSOP, and they're like, look, he's working here. You're paying him to be here. He could play the event if he's part of Poker.
Oh yeah,
and I'm like, well,
if they're okay with it, then they're okay
and
with it.
And what's interesting is
it feels a bit like it tarnishes what
the
event
and I think
should be for. So
and I think the reason they changed it is if you look at the finishing places, he final tabled it. Mike Holtz, who works for us, he's one of our podcast hosts. He came like 10th. And Nikki Limo came 11th. I think Caitlin Kamowski, working for Poker.org, who's obviously won an award there as an influencer last year, is now a Stars ambassador. She came like 20th. So there was a lot of, I think this happens every year. I think last year was the first year that a lot of notable faces all went very deep, and it raised the question.
Yeah.
But what it did do was mask the other side of these people that literally play poker for a living, but have a job as a dealer maybe during the summer at the New Orleans.
I think that's okay. I genuinely think that's okay. If they are dealers, and if for example, I always thought that it was, particularly for the World Series of Poker staff. But you're obviously saying there that, there are lots of casino type people who might be coming in just for the event and then maybe shooting out again. So I didn't fully appreciate that it was that. But having said that, I'm not sure I'd want. I mean, is Daniel going to rock up looking for bracelet number whatever because he's a GG sort of? I mean, and he's a darn sight closer to being a GG employee, I would imagine, contractually, than a lot of the ambassadors or sponsor players out there. I mean,
Helmuth might. Let me just see how many days is the event.
Who's he? It's only one. It's only 2 days. Yeah, Helmuth.
Helmuth.
Short. 2 days. I'm in. I'm in, boys.
Yeah.
6 hours a day.
Can he have a break then before he needs to play something else? Yeah, it'll be fine. Yeah. Well, that won't be a problem. What did you guys make of that? That was a bizarre. I mean, for anyone that doesn't know, when the schedule got released, Phil Helmuth pretty much was very quickly out. How can I say? Making it all about him, which I suppose is what he's done for a living. That he wasn't going to play the main event because he just finds it too long and too tiring, and it's an endurance thing rather than actually a best poker.
David Lappin wrote a great article yesterday, which suggested that this might be a bit of a ruse for some sort of energy drink sort of scam, not scam, but just a promotion. So Phil will rock up and play it on the back of his brain fuel or whatever this energy drink was.
Should I brought my Huel drink with me? Should
your Huel fuel? Yeah.
Should we be promoting Huel on the show, Gary Neville style? Yeah, we've missed a trick there. Clearly,
I think he'll play it. Yeah. He'll definitely play it.
Oh,
I mean, I don't think he's got much choice. He's sponsored now by Bet Rivers, which is Phil Galfon's kind of Run It Once brand merged into is it Pennsylvania with their license now. So he's going to have some ambassador stuff that he needs to do.
David said, I don't quite know what he's talking about anyway, because he hasn't been past day 3. He's got to day 3 once in about 12 years.
Simon Lawler's probably just nailed it in the chat, Des. I think pretty much if we can get odds on this,
just boom.
Yeah, then there you go.
It's not a problem for him. It really hasn't been a problem for quite some time, since he was a very young man.
I mean, also you need to look at the schedule. He plays every day.
Yeah.
And his ROI is much higher in these smaller buy-ins, like more amateur-based fields than it is in the bigger stuff.
Yeah.
And he plays a full schedule. So by the time, I think like the problem is more so he's probably played 200 or 300 hours of poker in the months of May and June before July even starts. And actually,
what he needs to do is, the trouble is he's based in America, so that's his first problem. But if he was in the UK or Ireland, what he could do, right, is he could just head over to Poker Raffles and he could enter this competition here.
Oh, so
and he'd win his main event entry. But not only that, Dan, but we're going to put him up in the horseshoe. So he can nip back to his room for a bit of a sleep during the break. Not a problem whatsoever. Plus, he gets flights for 2, and the hotel for 2. So basically, he can take a mate who can then like go and do like snack runs and drinks and need a coffee, whatever it might be. See, that's the way to do the main event. Helmuth has been doing it wrong all these years. And he could do it for £1.
Do you want me to message him and say, mate, I found a cheaper way for you to get in?
If you could, please. If you could, please. Just do it for a laugh. In fact, he's got his phone number. We'll call him.
You'll have to move to the UK or Ireland to be able to buy tickets.
I'll buy them on his behalf. It's fine. Look, he has a link to APAT. He signed the t-shirts for the giveaway last year at the Worlds.
He did
indeed.
Which
was raffles.
He's already involved.
Simon says, I think he's getting another bracelet this year, probably in a mixed game. Hard to bet against him, even though the numbers have been superb. But he seems to do it.
If he needs a warm up, I'm just trying to think I think we may have some more mixed games on before the series with APAT. I mean, last weekend was great in London, by the way. We haven't. There's a reason why we haven't touched on it very much, because basically, in the main event, a guy beat another guy. And we're currently still not allowed to tell you who they were. And they both beat a Scottish guy. I think we can tell you who the Scottish guy is.
We got a picture. We got a picture.
Few issues with GDPR from the venue. I don't think many of the players have got an issue whatsoever. It's just they were being absolute sticklers in what we do. But there were a couple of them on the final table that really didn't want to be in the photos and that kind of thing. So we just took the right decision, but we will get all of those results up on the Hender Mob and everything as soon as we possibly can. But a great 5 days in London. Huge thank you to the Aspers team who looked after us superbly as always, and great to see lots of APAT regulars. Again, we had an 8 game going on. There was a Hetros game. I think triple stud was played over the 5 days. A couple of round of eaches. Really good. Missed all the Team Gotham guys. Dan, I mean, I know you had an excuse because you were away, but I'm not sure. I think everybody else was busy doing other things as well. But hopefully we'll have some more mixed games around May time. And if for any reason that doesn't happen, definitely, obviously, now the August dates have been confirmed for the WSOP. For sure. I've seen the schedule for that. Dear. Been running through it the past few days. 101 events.
101,
who knew? 101. I mean, never been done before. It's never been done before. 101 events. We're opening up a industry employees event. Anyway, basically, if you've walked past a casino, you can play in that. Apparently, that won't be a problem. You just need You just need to be able to say the word casino, and they'll let you into that one.
An incredible new innovation in poker. You've heard of the multi-buy, of course, after the freeze-out. You've heard of the re-entry. We're introducing a new event for the WSOP. It's going to be called a re-chip. So what we do is we give you your chips quietly, right? You put them in your pocket. You go to the table, get another stack, and then nonchalantly, at some point in the tournament, you re-chip!
You're not allowed to do that, Des.
We're not going to do that.
No, you really
we're not going to do that.
We really can't.
Unless it's your mate, then maybe. How did I saw something, obviously I wasn't there as you alluded to, which was very sad, but I did see that the structure in the mixed games was changed last minute to have, was it slower levels early on or something?
No, it
Something
wasn't.
changed.
So it wasn't changed last minute. That's just everybody was told well in advance what was going to happen. It may have been pointed out to them last minute, but the information was always out there. No problem. But basically, what we did is we extended the first 3 levels to 50-minute levels, and just tweaked a couple of the other ones just to try and give it. So then it went to 25-minute levels after that. I mean, to quote one player who came across and said to us, that is absolutely perfect. Do not change a single thing. I would play that structure for $5,000 buy-ins in Vegas if they'd let me.
Was that Dominic French?
I can't tell you who it was.
Was it a non?
but basically, yeah, it was very, very.
However,
yeah, it was very well received. The slight tweak on what we did. So yeah, so excuse me.
So now you need to convince Dawn to do that.
Yeah, we're on the case of that. I do love Simon Lawler's comment about third place in the main event, jocking on, which is absolute quality. But we will get those. But it was really well received, Dan. Not a complaint whatsoever about any of the structures and the guys. And we know that a lot of that field play those mixed games regularly with us because it's about the only place they can play and are very open and honest with any views they've got on it. And so it was very, very well received. So
Leigh, the Oracle, who doesn't miss much, I have to say, puts a name up. I think this was a dealer from Stratford, Elior Sean. Apparently, this lad has a Vegas flag. That's what I heard. Vegas amateur from Croydon.
Well,
yeah.
He's won $1 million. He's like an absolute crusher. Yeah,
he might have won the 50K Players Championship.
Quietly snuck in on Sunday afternoon with his baseball cap on to play a little Hetros. Which the rest of the field had no bother with whatsoever. No whatsoever.
I remember the first Worlds at Aspers many years ago that Adam Owen just rocked up and started playing the PLO and the horse, which was or the 8. No, it must have been the 8 game, I think. But anyway, yeah, another massive.
Simon's right. Triple stud. He's quite right. Triple stud, not Hetros. So see, I mean, I was there, and Simon knows more about it than me. But that's. But we always have this conversation about. I think it's becoming less of an issue if we do get that kind of situation where a pro wants to rock up and play an APAT event because simply they like what we're putting on, and I think it's become less of an issue for the community. We always do kind of discuss it every now and again. We still have very much our rules about we're aimed at recreational poker players and amateur poker players, and if you're a professional poker player, we prefer you not to play. But ultimately, I think we're at a place now where I don't think we're going to turn anybody away. They're not coming to play the type of buy-ins we've got to try and turn a profit. They're coming because they want to play the good quality events, and I don't think that should be seen as a negative to amateur players. I think actually some of the players that play our mixed games are probably some of the better mixed games players in the country. I would argue.
You know how to deter them though,
because there's not many other places you can play. So
you could deter the pros if you just went back and had a £50, 100k starting stack, 30-minute blind level tournament.
Well, the reality is, and we said it from day one, is that with how people work these days, right? There's very few people only earning their income from poker, right? There are so many other side things, contracts I write, I do this, I do that it's really, I mean, how many players just do poker? I don't know.
very interesting. We had a really good conversation with Katie Swift at the UK team event. She was up there playing for one of the teams, which, as I say, it's very, very much is an open event with APAT. Everyone's entitled to come along and play for those teams. If you've got some professional players or people that play for a living, that's great. And Katie was, not quick to point out, but she was chatting away and explaining that just because she wears a patch, because she's a sponsored player for Grosvenor, doesn't make her a professional poker player. So she's got a business that she runs. She's got a family. She's got other things going on. She's in a situation where she's able to provide, a kind of ambassador type role and content or whatever to a company in Grosvenor that supports her to do that. Doesn't make her a professional player, and she wouldn't turn around and say she was. She's a good player. That's for sure. Her results go, tell you that. But yeah, I wouldn't certainly suggest that Katie is a professional poker player, and she'd be very welcome to play future APAT events if she wanted to. Perfect example.
Katie was quick to point out that she, when she started playing, she was very much playing recreational level poker, but has good game, was picked up, and obviously, a great face for any company as an ambassador. And but lots of other stuff happening in Katie's life. Superb. Where do we go to now, Mr. Wilshire, on your agenda for the night? Are we halfway through?
We've covered off. No, pretty much. We've covered everything. I kind of had to rattle through. To be honest, I seem to have ended up on the. Dan's had enough. He's just
gone. Just left.
He's just literally gone.
I'm not. We're only halfway through. We're only halfway through.
Right, Leigh said we're done. Agenda's done. Right, and I didn't even get to any of the business. I mean, honestly, that's ridiculous.
I've got a picture of him here live, Leigh. There he is.
There we go.
There he is. Well, he just left, Leigh. I mean, that was kind of rude. We're not having him back.
Didn't even slam the door behind him. But anyway, well, that is a good point for us. Probably at 2 minutes to 11, we've been going for an hour and a half. And say it was a non-online related show tonight. We just wanted to have a catch up on loads of things. So we've gone through the WCOP dates and the WSOP schedule, the Irish Open schedule. We've talked about the awards and everything else going on. That kind of feels like we're wrapped up. We've avoided football, which is good because this could have been Liverpool's league championship celebration party.
We might just Liverpool's show, Leigh.
We might just as well have had it because I think I don't know about you, Des, but if you weren't one of the ones singing "We're going to win the league" this afternoon, the rest of the country is singing that, so they think
I was. I can sense it now, Leigh. And I'm up to see them play Newcastle on Wednesday night, and I managed to negotiate off a well-known APATer whose name shall not be shared here for her ticket for the Chelsea-Liverpool game on May the 3rd, which will probably become a Sunday game now. You never know, Leigh. It could be the one.
Yeah,
but, it's very exciting.
It's looking like now. It's looking like everybody else is Dan back? Yeah, everybody else is falling by the wayside or not prepared to give you a fight. So it looks like it looks like it's your title to win, I think, and it's just a case of matter of when. Now, I mean, the frightening thing is you've got 11 games left and 7 of them are at home.
I know. I mean, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just phenomenal. I mean, Simon Lawler's saying Paddy Power have paid out already.
Yeah.
Apparently, they've done a bet, Fred, and they've already paid out on Liverpool's title. I think it's a safe bet. How do you fancy your Champions League run now? It's not easy because it's PSG in the next run. Then probably Real Madrid.
Yeah, we were given the tough side of the draw, definitely. But do you know what? To win it, you have to win. You have to beat the big teams. Funnily enough, was not feeling massively confident after the last 2 weeks with the Everton and the Wolves game, Villa. I don't think we played massively well during those games, but remained unbeaten through them. But funnily enough, I thought we were super professional in the way we played City today. And it was a super functional, workman-like, prepared to, sweat it out, smart way to play them. And I think PSG will come and run at us. God bless them. I think that'll suit us. Tough game, obviously. But I think, should we get through PSG, it could be Villa in the quarters, it could be Arsenal or Real in the semi, and then you could be left with the best of what's remaining: Barcelona, Bayern. Who knows?
It's Barcelona, probably. You kind of feel it'll be Barcelona, but yeah, it's a long way to go in it. Yeah, with
so
it.
It's tough.
Yeah, I think the league is done. Obviously, you've got a chance at another cup with the League Cup in a couple of weeks' time, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
And
honestly,
then it'll be interesting. Yeah.
I turned to Sean after the game and I said, "You fancy it? Liverpool? We'll go up for the parade." And she went, "Huh? What?" And I went, "The parade, we win the league." And she went, "No, I'm not going up to that." But that was my mindset after the game. We just need to figure out a hotel or something for the parade because we didn't get to do that in 2020, and it'll be amazing. To do that. So
there'll be a lot of fans that
nothing else matters really.
I completely understand that. I get that. It's I've been very fortunate to have seen United lift the title a lot in my lifetime. Really, sort of, having supported them for probably the best part of just over 40 years now. So I've probably had United at their best. Dan will probably know what I'm talking about. It's you've got to enjoy those because you just quite never know how long it might take again before you get to see them lift that. And as much as cups and stuff are lovely, but winning that league title is always the one, isn't it?
My youth from 10 up to whatever 2021 was the late 70s into the late 80s, where Liverpool were pretty much winning everything, and then we went 30 years without a league before winning it in the COVID year, so we didn't get to enjoy that. We won a few European Cups, so there has been things to enjoy. But I understand the long desert period between league wins. This is beginning to sink in now, and there's a warm
it is a weird one. Liverpool obviously are good, but it does feel like nobody's wanted to give you a bit of a fight for it. It's every time you think, someone's going to give you a bit of pressure on you, they don't, which gives you. I felt today, I nearly messaged you earlier on to go, well, it's a free swing today, isn't it?
Yeah, I felt
because when I saw the City, when I saw the City team, I just thought, well, what have you got to lose here? You might just as well have a go at actually turning them over, because that's worth so much. And even if you don't, nobody's applied any pressure on you in the games over the weekend, so you're no worse off. So
and to be honest,
just go for it.
I suspect, just based on some of the games that we've seen, so their peak week was the Madrid win and the Leverkusen win and the Man City win, right? There was a week there a week and a half where we just won a lot of big games, and I felt the team has another gear. If the pressure is really on, they can step up. I mean, that's my instinct, but it just isn't on at the moment.
No, it's phenomenal. And Mo Salah's just having the season,
he is, isn't he?
just unreal. Still not signed a contract though, yeah?
I've no idea. I mean, some people say that both he and Van Dijk have, but the club don't want to announce anything because of what that would then, the focus that would then push on to Trent. Don't know. Don't care. It'll, if it happens, it'll happen. If it doesn't, it won't. The beautiful thing is nobody's asking any longer. So the press conferences, the fans, it's like it went on for 6 months and nobody gives a shit.
Oh no, but the media have got a full Liverpool loving now. I mean, Slot can do no wrong. The media are just, it's just constant. I saw a tweet today where they were listing every record that Salah broke during the game today, and it was like about a dozen things. He was the only one to have his sock rolled up halfway to this, whatever. I mean, they're making things up for the fun of it.
I looked at the same list, and while I agree with you, it looked like a GPI list.
I think it's all genuine.
Some of the things on there were pretty impressive, but yeah, I don't care about all of that. Let's just get to May and get it done, because it's still not over.
And just curious, asking for a friend. I mean, what's the number of points you need to roughly get to avoid relegation these days?
Oh.
How many do you need?
Well,
What's the safe? What's the safe number? Just
10 more than what we've got. I think probably 10 more than what we've absolutely rubbish.
You're about as safe as houses, I guess. But you could go behind West Ham, same number of points as West Ham. So that would take you down to what, 16th, which is pretty.
Well, we genuinely could. We could end up 17th.
Yeah.
We could end up 17th.
Which
there's
would be an extraordinary fall from grace.
Yeah. I don't think. I think the bottom three are the bottom three. I don't see that changing. To be honest, but there's nothing to say that we couldn't easily just we're certainly not going to pick up. We're not going to pick up many more places because what's the gap now, Dan, to going upwards? It's growing, isn't it? So it's not a good situation. Is it?
I'm just looking now. We're a point behind Everton, 3 points behind Tottenham and Palace, and then we're 7 points behind Brentford in 11th. So
so you're basically we're not going to get top half of the table because we're not making up 7 points on Brentford and 9 on Fulham between now and the end of the season. So we're 100% ending. But the best we can finish this season is 12th, and to finish 12th, we've got to outdo Tottenham, Palace between now and the end of the season. I don't see that even happening. We could end up being 15th, 16th at the end of the season, but it doesn't matter because the season's an absolute write-off in the league anyway. There should be one focus from the club's point of view between now and the end of, well, possibly 2 if needed. Europa League, FA Cup, win one of those, preferably the Europa League because that gets us in the Champions League. But if it's not and it's the FA Cup and it gets us into Europe next year, if we're not in Europe next year, financially, we're screwed.
You got a tough draw, didn't you? You got Sociedad and I can't remember.
But we are screwed. The debt finance that the Glazers have put on the club, it's just crippling with the rules as they are at the moment. Obviously the way the Glazers bought the club, I don't think that's even an allowed method of buying a club nowadays. But they obviously bought it with debt back in the day because you could do that. So it's same principle as buying a house and with a mortgage on it, effectively, but an interest-only mortgage, and they've never paid any of the capital off on that. They've just basically allowed the debt to sit there. So they've taken over their lifetime now £1 billion out in debt repayments, in interest. Over the nearly 20 years that they've been on board, £1 billion out of that club, which is staggering when you think about it. And the rules are in place now where that's not allowed. So you can't go and buy a football club with debt. You've got to have some sort of asset behind it to allow to get through the owners' rules and regs things. So it wouldn't be allowed nowadays. But from our point of view, if the rules stay in place regarding FFP, PSR, and all that. If we don't have income from Europe and we haven't got the money to replenish that squad, and we've got £1 billion worth of debt on the books, that's not actually the club's debt, it's the debt that the owners put on to actually buy the club in the first place. It's crazy, but it's where we find ourselves, and it would be really, really worrying that. Don't be surprised if we don't get Europe next year, that in the summer a couple of the big names are going. Whoever they can get off the books that they can get as pure profit will be gone. Yeah. That's unfortunately the way it is. Yeah. I mean, it's not. Yeah, it's not a case of the club. Yeah, it's not a case of the club will go bankrupt or anything like that. That's not a thing.
To invest in it.
But you won't be able to invest to be able to actually compete on the pitch. And of course, in the Premier League these days, everybody's got money, to a certain extent. So money is less of an issue. Okay, some haven't got the money to invest to try and stay up, but they're not in a position where they've got to sell or anything like that. You only had to see in the summer Everton absolutely crippled financially and a new stadium and everything else and whatever, but they wouldn't budge on selling Branthwaite for less than 70 million.
Smart.
Quite happy happy to hang on to him. Not a problem. Not a problem to them. But that's the way it is.
Question for you both. So let's say you finish 15th or 16th. Tough year. I mean, how does Amarim come back next year, particularly if he can't really invest in players, or if his investment is, it's relatively frugal? I mean, can he come back? I mean, how long does he get away with being and no agenda? Because I like
no. But even the phrase "get away with," he's not getting away with anything. Amarin's a good coach, and his system and the way he wants to play is a good system. The problem he's got is he hasn't got players to play that system, and he never wanted to come in mid-season. But they insisted upon it for whatever reason. He was ideally wanting to come in the summer and then have a proper pre-season, have a plan in place. And basically, since day one he's come in, we played 2 games a week. He's not had any time to train players in what he wants to do. He's just not had that as an option.
So let's say he gets a pre-season.
It's got to be it has to be a reset. It'll have to be a reset. It'll get to the end of the season. It'll be right. Okay, that was we parked that season. It's gone.
Yeah.
This is what he's got. This is what he's got. He's then got to make it work with what he's got. Then there's no excuses.
That's the point, though, Leigh. If he can invest a bit of money, but we think it'll be relatively small, so he can't, do significant changes to the squad. So he's going to be stuck with kind of the same problem next season that he has this season.
I disagree, Des. I think he knows, he's seen these players for a season, and let's be honest, 80% of them don't fit the system he wants to play. But they're players with price tags that he can sell, And I think that's what's going to happen this summer. I think you're going to see a lot of dead weight go, and he will either get some out for free to clear the contract.
He's not going to get a lot of money for them, though, is he?
But we know Sancho is a guaranteed. I think Chelsea have to buy him. I think that's a definite. The way Rashford's looking already, we'll get 40 million or whatever. I would imagine Villa will take up the offer at 40 million because they'd be foolish not to if he carries on the way he's playing at the moment. Anthony is absolutely setting the world alight in Spain.
How much is the price?
I mean,
has he been sold or is he on loan?
No, he's on loan. But again, if it's a case of they'll cut their losses and go, we'll get some money in. Then there are players that they can do that with. It's not an issue. So they're all going. We also know that Eriksen's contract comes to an end. That's a big saving. Casemiro's got 1 year left in his contract, but that guy just seems quite content to sit there and take his 350 grand a week or whatever for the next year. Yeah. So you might have to sit with him.
Also, they have done some really good investment into youth players. Like they picked up, I can't think what that lad from there's a lad from Man City, 16-year-old they picked up. And a couple of others. I've seen their youth team play, actually. They came and played Forest Green Rovers, which is our local team, and they looked really quality. So there's going to be a handful of options there, and our youth system's still pretty good. But also...
the academy, Dan, the academy is amazing. The under-18s last year absolutely smashed the whole league. This year won the first 11 games in a row, I think. Are up there with Man City this year. Man City beat us a couple of weeks ago.
Are they getting a chance to play, Leigh? Is he pushing?
Well, a bunch of those are the ones that have been on the bench the last 2 games. So they're the ones that. Chido Obi came on. In the past 2 games, but it's not a chance to play them. It's the trouble. They're sitting on the bench at the moment because we've got all the injuries that we've got again, and. At some point, he's got to go, well, okay, you just got to start playing them and give them.
Well, yeah, that's it.
Give them a run out.
Klopp but you say, a load of Liverpool youngsters over the years. Always put them in League Cups and FA Cups and stuff.
But we haven't. But we haven't got those opportunities because he's not going to risk them in Europa League. He's not going to risk them in the FA Cup, and you don't want to risk them. The difficulty is if you're not careful, you can ruin a career by throwing them in. If it's a case of he needs to, because that's all we've got, that's fine. But the last 2 games, I mean, we've only had Eriksen and Lindelof on the bench as kind of first teamers. The rest have all been reserves.
If they're good enough, why not play them, Leigh?
It's not, but they're on the bench, Des, because there's nobody else.
Yeah, no, I get it. But
if
they were part of an outstanding under-18, Premier League under-18 winning team, which they were, there's got to be a few of them there who are on the cusp of first-team football, or certainly being within the squad and stuff. And therefore, ultimately, you just need to give them some minutes to see how you got to be careful around it, of course. But you got to blood a few of them.
But you have seen those. So Garnacho came through from there. Ahmad's come through from there. Collier's come through, but obviously he's out injured now as well. So we have seen players come through and be given their chance. Darren Fletcher's two lads are both in the reserves as well. They started off at City and they're now over with us. So we'll see them, and I think you'll see more between now and the end of the season that will get given a run up, because actually there isn't anybody else. That's the problem, because of all the players that have now gone out on loan or whatever. There isn't anybody else left.
They need to play, right? If they're going to come through somewhere along the line, they need to play. Brilliant. Well, I love the fact that you said about 10 minutes ago, and we didn't mention football. And then we took over for about 10. Dan went.
Yeah, and
he's back.
When
back
we get
for round 2.
When we get. The trouble is, when we get talking about football, we're all quite passionate about those.
I'm here for the night.
Those that we support, and quite happily. We should just do a football only show. That's what we should do at some point.
If you're free tomorrow night, Leigh, let's do it.
Yeah. I can't. I've got a poker raffles draw to do. Otherwise, I would love to.
We've got before or after. Before or after. We could do it now.
We've got an Irish Open draw to do, which has sold some tickets whilst we've been on the show. So
brilliant.
That's always good. So that's nice. 827 left. It is getting drawn tomorrow, guys, whether those tickets are sold or not. So at the moment, it is super value if you want to have a shot at getting over to Dublin at Easter and play in the 2.5 million guaranteed Euro main event. Plus, we put you up in a hotel that's about 10 minutes walk from the venue, so it's perfect. I think it takes a bit longer to stagger back at the end of the night once you've had a Guinness or two in the crack den. So,
sell it, please. Sell it.
Yeah, are we going to see you over at the Irish Open, Dan? Are you planning on making the trip this year? No.
No, no. April's busy. I'm at Sigma Brazil, and then when we get back is this, and then after that is Malta, where I might actually have to be there for something that might be happening, maybe
something that might be happening you can't talk about. Yeah.
So the team will be there. Lucas will be there. Lucas is going to all 3 of those events. So
is he dealing, Dan?
Yes, he is dealing. Des, if you meet him in the toilets, he can hook you up. All right.
I leave it on the line, Leigh. Dan taps it in.
I love it.
Beautiful.
I love it. With is Lucas dealing? Yes, we're at the crack den. Great, brilliant,
fantastic. Love it. Okay, well, look, gents, it has been an absolute pleasure. I think we leave it there. I think we're leaving it there, Leigh.
Yeah. We are.
Dan.
We are.
It was good. It was really good. If we don't speak to you beforehand, which we will, but probably off camera, enjoy your trip to Brazil. That sounds really exciting. The Brazilian series of poker, or
no, for the Sigma Poker Tour.
The Sigma,
the one that Yvonne's running. Yeah, it should be good.
I don't know if you've met him, Eman, the founder of Sigma.
Yes.
I've
met him once. Yep.
So I was at a Liverpool Arsenal game going back a little while ago, and this woman walked by wearing an Arsenal shirt. She was a good age, in her 70s, right? And I had a bit of a chat with her. I said, could you give me that? I'll put it in my back pocket type thing, right? Because obviously, I'm in the Arsenal end, but clearly I was not shouting for Arsenal. So we had a bit of a laugh, and her husband came along. It transpires she was Eman's mother. It was the mother and father. So we talked about Malta for about 20 minutes. Lovely people. So, wish them success with the Sigma Poker Tour, Brazil. Have a smashing time down there, Dan.
I hope so. Thank you.
Right.
Cool. And we should be back for some online APAT medal hunting this time next Sunday. Fingers crossed we can get everything sorted with Grosvenor, and we'll get those details out during the week.
Fantastic. Have a great week, everybody. Hope you can join us tomorrow evening for the Poker Raffles live draw. Other than that, Leigh and I will be back on Sunday night, possibly with another mystery guest. What a great idea, Leigh. We should do that more often. Good night, everyone.
Chicken envelope.